Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ife, and on this channel I talk about faith, I talk about relationship, and I also talk about real life issues. We are still in the month of February, and in my first video this month I said I'm going to be talking about love and relationship. And also today's video is a very juicy video because we are talking about an important aspect when it comes to love, and that is sex, especially in marriage. Not especially because it's meant to be only in marriage, but you get in case you are just about to get married or you have gotten married and you're in the first few months. These are some few things that we wish we knew that we now know and is helping our sex life. So we believe that if you know before or at the early stage of your marriage, it can help your marriage. Sex is a very big part of marriage, and I think this almost caused us to have like little arguments here and there or little misunderstanding here and there. So it's like a very big deal. And just like our counselors, our premarital counselors said, they said sex is one of the major things that causes issues in marriage. So we just want to be sharing things that we wish we knew, that if we knew these things, it will have helped us. Unfortunately, we didn't know. Everybody was just saying, enjoy yourself. I'm gonna be having sex. Now you have the license. You'll be doing it anyhow, anytime. So if you like this content, please don't forget to subscribe, as I said earlier. But without further ado, let's just jump right into this video.
The first point that we're going to be talking about today on what we wish we knew, we wish we had an understanding of, was don't have high expectations.
Right.
So I, for one, came into the marriage with a high expectation of, you know, when you go to the pharmacy and they say, okay, take one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and one in the night. So in my mind, I already came into the marriage thinking, yes, we'll be having sex in the morning, we'll have sex maybe anytime I'm maybe close to the house or she's at home, I'll come have it in the afternoon. At night before you go to bed, you have sex. In the middle of the night, you wake up again. I'm like, so
every day back to back.
I was really guilty or something like, because this was the mind I had. But I was shocked at how my high expectation was like killed instantly, because it doesn't really work that way. You shouldn't bring your experience that you have and just bring into the marriage thinking, okay, this is how it's supposed to be, or things you've seen in the movies, or things you've heard, or things you and your guys have spoken about. Because trust me, even amongst my unmarried guys, so there are still people that still believe that yes, sex can be done every day. So when you have that high expectation, sometimes it can be a problem, because the person you're getting married to might not be coming with that same expectation. So if you're connecting your past experience or an idea that you have from outside and bringing it into your marriage with that kind of high expectation, you might not just be able to work with that.
Babe, sorry, let me cut you on. I would like to say that everybody's experience is different from the other person, so we are just sharing from our own experience. And when you said expectation, I also want to say expectation is different from reality, in the sense that if you watch a movie, you see that when two people want to have sex, they are tearing their clothes, they are scattering the house, they are breaking plates, everything. And you think that once I just have this guy, like I will just feel some kind of way. It's not really used to happen like that. It does not really happen. And when you have this kind, when media has painted this kind of expectations to you, like, is it automatically or somewhere at the back of your mind, even if you are thinking that it's nothing, the expectation is there. So when your partner doesn't start behaving like
that way,
the woman in the movie that is standing like this and is holding a pole in the middle of the room, you're like, what are you doing? If your husband is not, you know, the way all those Hollywood, you get the way all those Hollywood guys used to do it, you feel like, oh, this our sex life is rubbish. So expectation is different from reality. If you guys have expectations, I feel like you guys should discuss your expectations, but don't let your expectations be out of maybe past experiences or what the media is telling you or what Hollywood or Bollywood is telling you. Your expectation should be like, me as a human being, me as like personally, what do I expect? And make sure you communicate it, but just know that expectation is different from reality, and what we are seeing outside is kind of different from what happens inside the house on the bed. What I'd like to say is that to have a great sex life, as a couple, you guys have to have great intimacy. And in this intimacy, in the sense of, like, you guys have to connect outside the sexual room, I don't know how to put it.
The inner room.
You guys have to connect outside the inner room. So you guys have to bond on a deeper level. You guys have to have like a genuine friendship. You have to make yourself feel loved, feel wanted, like make your partner feel like, yes, I want you, I desire. And what people say that, oh, guys, anytime, any day, guys can always have sex. Anytime, any day, the guy is always ready. Sometimes it's actually not like that. Sometimes maybe I want to have sex with my husband. I have to make him, like, I have to prepare his mind ahead. And same, like, likewise it's me. Sometimes he has to prepare my mind ahead. So when you build an intimate relationship with your partner outside the inner room, and you guys like know that, oh, this person got my back, this person values me, this person wants me, and he's not just coming to me now because of sex. So assuming maybe you guys are now fighting, people are fighting during the day, then it's nice, one person not touching me, oh my, I go, what's you? But imagine, like, if you guys have been cool, like bonding, chatting, like making yourself feel good and valued all day. Like when it's time to have sex, sometimes you don't even have to prepare for it. Like it just automatically flows. So I feel like most people don't, they just tell you that, go and be enjoying yourself, now that you people have the license. But they don't tell you that having a great sex life comes from building a deeper, intimate relationship with your spouse, making your spouse feel like, I love you, I want you, I desire you, and not just like coming to meet your spouse when it's time for sex. Like the way they say, guys, you just say, oh yeah, baby, I'm ready. A man can always be ready, and just say, baby, I'm ready, come and have sex with me. So you can just say you want to.
I know they say women can be emotional and men can be physical. Sometimes it might be the other way around. You might both be emotional or you might both be physical. So you all need to work towards that intimacy. You have to understand that, okay, the person you're dealing with is an emotional person. So that person needs to be stimulated. That person needs to be activated. You might know they call this thing mumu buttons. We all know our mumu buttons.
Yeah.
So you don't just go into the room and expect that sex to just kick off like that.
Yeah, off your clothes.
Yeah, so
off your clothes.
You need to push that button. You need to tick that emotional side of that person to be able to activate that great sexual experience. So it doesn't just work like that.
The point to be talking about on things we wish we knew before we married is,
yes, communication. Communication is, I would say that's like the most important part of having a good sexual experience.
Sorry, let me interject. I just want to say that what has been communicated to people is that every woman should please her husband. So the communication outside is that it's only men that should enjoy sex. It's only men that are meant to enjoy sex. The woman is just meant to serve the husband sex and just say, this is my duty, or serve the husband. But coming to marriage, we got to understand that pleasure or satisfaction is meant to be mutual. So as much as you are trying to satisfy your husband too should try to satisfy you. And orgasm is meant for everybody. It's not sex specific. Male side should have and the female side should have. So I feel like most girls, they can't really communicate because of that feeling that I'm just here to have sex with my husband. Like the way our mothers say, be the whore of your man, no, make sure where you give him different style, make sure where you wear this thing. Like automatically, I also came with marriage with that mentality that I'm here to serve this man. But I think during communication, as you said, so you can continue.
Yeah, true. So, like I was saying, communication is like one of the key factors about having a good sexual experience.
Yeah.
So, it's not a bad thing to explain to your partner what makes you tick, what makes you happy, or where you like to be touched.
Yes, what makes you get to that climax.
Yeah, to that climax. So it's not a bad thing, because whether I like it or not, we're two different people coming from two different backgrounds. We have different ideas about sex. So it's always good to explain to your partner what you need. There's no way you can read everything in the mind of your partner. Even if we say yes, after living with someone for a while, you get to know the person. But notwithstanding, it's always important for each and every one of the partners to explain to each other what they like. Okay, this is how I like to be touched. This is what makes me tick. This is where I feel you need to dwell on. So at first, I actually thought I was killing it. I was doing a good job, but in my mind, I was like,
you were all over the place.
Yeah, I was the boss. You do this, you do that, you do that. You turn this way, you do that way. But I realized that I was just
playing.
I was just playing, honestly. Till she brought it up one day and she started talking about it, and I realized that I actually didn't know that. Okay, yeah, these are the things that I needed to be doing. So with that understanding, it really helped from that point. So I feel it really kicked off at that level after the communication. So it's always good to self-appraise and also appraise each other.
Yes, do like a kind of review of yourself.
Yeah, on yourselves, yes. So maybe after every experience, you can talk about it, explain, okay, how was it, review it, okay, how did you do? Oh, I feel you should have done this. Okay, you did this and I really like that you did this. Yeah. Okay, I feel next time we should try this, we should try this. So it just happens like that. Once you communicate, once people share what is in their mind, you get to understand what they're thinking about. So
maybe I feel like the reason why some people don't communicate, I would say maybe for example, most especially for females, because definitely it took a while before I told you about it, before I communicated to you, because most times the communication outside is that when you talk to a man about sex, you bruise his ego and you make the man feel less of himself. And so everybody is trying to protect their husband's ego, and they are indirectly breeding selfish men when it comes to sexual intimacy. Do you understand? And the communication outside too is sex is meant for men. So most two men, they kind of judge themselves like, hey, how will I now go and tell my husband? My husband will not be seeing me as a dirty woman. Will he not be seeing me as a whore? Will he not be seeing me as maybe this one zone is too much or stuff like that? But what I just want to tell you is that without communication, there cannot really be any good outcome. And as I said before, sexual orgasm, as I said before, orgasm is meant for everybody. Like, it is everybody's marital right. You know, when they give birth to you, they give you a birth certificate. Sexual orgasm is your marriage certificate, like quote and unquote. So everybody should have it. So when you don't communicate from the sense of I don't want to bruise this man's ego, when you don't communicate from the sense of I don't want this person to judge you, you are just breeding a selfish man when it comes to sexual acts, and you are just punishing yourself, because trust me, orgasm is good. And here, as I was saying, but it's now how you communicate it that is important. Honestly. So you cannot just shout at your husband and say, why are you having sex with me like a kinikon, like a mumu? You don't even know, you don't even sabi, you don't even shake kinikon. But honest conversations that will not hurt the person's ego. And this is even for a woman, because sometimes a man can just say, I did not like this position, you are just lying down, you are just this. But it's how you say it that matters, not really what you're saying. But what you're saying is important too, but what you're saying and how you say it is very important. So I wish we actually knew that we had to be intentional about communicating with our sexual life before getting married. Like, don't touch me here. If your husband or your wife did a great job, let them know that they did a great job, because they will be able to work on that part and kind of master the act or what they did to make you feel better. So if you decide not to tell your husband or your wife what they are doing to make you feel good, trust me, you're just punishing yourself, and you're just going to have like a very boring sexual life, which should not be like the goal of every marriage, because the Bible says that sex is beautiful, and if people outside marriage are having beautiful sex, how much more like people that are being bound in the presence of God. So the fourth thing I'll be talking about is explore your body. Like, don't be rigid. Explore your body is like, I would say I was guilty of this, because I used to feel like, hey, I'm not having sex. My father and my mother and people around me, everybody judging me and looking at me with a very funny eye. But I stumbled on a post on Instagram one day, and the woman was talking about, she's like a sexual therapist, and she was talking about that when you marry, your spouse has become your own. So your husband is your own, like your wife is your own. He has paid, like there is nothing anybody can do. Now my man, I'm his woman. So and we have like access to our bodies, just like the Bible says that your body is no longer your body is my body, and my body is no longer my body is your body. So you guys should explore, like don't just do one thing and feel like, oh, we have gotten it. Like try new positions, try new acts, and as long as like it is fine with the both of you. When you are exploring, then you can find out the things that give you sexual the things that will give you sexual pleasure or make you tick, or the things that will make you happy, and just get to that high spot and feel like you guys are good sexually and you're having like a great sexual life. So allow yourself to be explored, especially for women. Like men is easy, once they just do 1 2 they are fine. But for women, like allow your husband to explore your body without having like any judgmental mindset towards yourself. Like I struggled with this too. Like don't say, don't touch me here, it's unholy. Don't kinikon is unholy. Like let Baba touch you. You to touch Baba and explore yourself, and you guys will be fine. Do you want to say anything? Fifth thing we wish we knew about sex before we got married is,
yes, great sex takes a while.
Yeah.
Like, for you to gain mastery of an act,
it
takes consistency, it takes practice, it takes communication,
it takes patience.
Yes, patience. True. So, you guys need to be patient with each other.
Yeah.
Before you can get to that point of mastery, you need to just get to practice a lot of things. You need to get to understand each other. You need to get to understand your partner's body, your partner's love languages, your partner's
what you can see that will make your partner be in the mood.
Yeah, so
and all of that. So
it takes a while. So being patient is very, very important. Being patient, being understanding. If you're trying to teach your partner something, be patient. Let him take his time to understand. Let him take his time to practice. You should give room for practice. Give room for patience. Just understand. So it takes a while. Great sex takes a while. That's just like.
And I would just like to give like a brief example. When a baby starts walking, the baby will fall and stumble different times before the baby finally gets mastery on how to, start walking properly. And you might be thinking, okay, great sex takes time, but I've been with other people and we had great sex. Other people are not your spouse, and everybody has their different body functions or structures, and what makes them get into the mood and feel like sexually satisfied. So you have to be patient, like you said, to understand your spouse's body. So
understand the person's body. You need to understand the person's mind. You need to take correction properly. You need to work on the reviews. You need to work on the appraisals that you did. It needs a lot of work. So for you to achieve a great sex life, you need to be very patient.
Patient with yourself and patient with your spouse. Like give your spouse grace. The same way you want your spouse to give you grace, the same way you want your spouse to give you grace and like be understanding towards you, also give your spouse the grace. And just know that it takes a while, but with constant mastery and with constant practice and communications, exploring one another, there will be mastery of that act, and you guys are going to be good at it. So lastly, what we'll be talking about is great sex has to do with the mind, and it takes the two of you, like you both of you. It takes two to tango. Yes, better. So it's a thing of the mind. I think I heard this from a counselor, but I did not really understand the practicality until we got married and started having sex. So if my mind is distracted, like I'm thinking of what I'm going to take to work, what am I going to cook, maybe the house is not in order, or maybe you annoyed me, or something is wrong somewhere, or I have to respond to an email, my mind is not usually on enjoying the sex. My mind is just usually on just do what you want to, let's get it over with, and let me go back to what you're doing. Or let's say your mind is on, I have to pay bills, I have to do this. I can even remember there was a scenario where you were watching a movie one day.
Yeah, I was so interested in that movie.
He was so interested in the movie, and I was like, this is the time to go and seduce my husband. So I went to him, and he was completely distracted. I think that did we fight?
Yes. No, it was just quiet.
We were just quiet. And he was I was touching him and he was watching the movie, and I'm like, see this ball, see, value me. So when your mind is not like in one place, it's very difficult for you both to enjoy the sex. So try and like remove every other thing that is obstructing your mind or taking your attention, and try and be present, like be in the moment and enjoy the sex. And it takes intentionality from the two of you, in the sense that both of you have to make it work. So assuming your husband is touching you in a particular way, and the idea that only women need foreplay, I think men also need foreplay. So if your husband is touching you, to also touch him. Like if your wife is touching, touch her. If you guys are trusting on one another and this person is tired, like swap, the other person should do the work. When this person gets tired, this other person should do the work, until the both of you are very satisfied with that sexual act. So it takes like the two of you to actually make it work. So don't leave it like it's my husband's thing, he's the one that will satisfy me, or it's my wife's thing, she's the one that will satisfy me. It's like the intentionality of the two of you. So both of you have to be present, your mind has to be there, and you have to work together to make it a beautiful thing. Also, I would say that prayer is also very important when it comes to enjoying great sex. I don't know if you have prayed about it.
Oh, definitely, sure.
But I know that I have prayed about it like times without number, because there were times we had great sex, and there were times that the sex was not so great. There's sometimes, there is good, better, best. There's bad, good, better, best. I don't know how to, but there are sometimes it went from good to bad. So there are sometimes that sex is not so great. There are sometimes that sex is great. And I think there was a time we were having it more bad than good sex, and I had to go and pray. I said, God, I don't want this kind of like sexual life in my marriage. I want to enjoy sex, and I've heard that sex is a very beautiful thing, so I wanted to actually enjoy the satisfaction that comes with sex. So I actually had to pray about it, and I would say that the Holy Spirit has guided me, because I don't know if you know that there is a particular stuff I didn't used to do when we got married, but I do it now, and it brings like satisfaction, and it has enhanced our sex life. I would say that this inspiration like was gotten from the Holy Spirit. It was not something I read or I googled up or I just imagined. I just like felt like a nudging, why don't you try this? And like it has been a game changer in our sex life. So you also can pray about it. I don't know if you have ever prayed about it before.
Oh yeah, sure, I have, definitely. There was a time I wasn't really going too well, under pressure myself, so I took time to pray about it, to ask God to help me.
Deliver. You're not delivering well on the job.
To guide me. So you can't rule out the place of the Holy Spirit when it comes to
having great sex, because definitely sex was even created by God. So if you want to have great sex, always learn to pray. Like it's not something that God will judge you about. You're already married, like you guys are already bonded together in front of God. So God even expects you guys to be having great sex. So pray about it, like be open-minded, explore, communicate. Like now your guy, as in this is your man, is my man. I can do anything I want with his body, and he can do anything he wants with my body. So for our newly married people, for people that are about to get married, just take your time. Like you guys will get it, you will get the flow, but it really doesn't happen like immediately. And if you have been having great sex with other people and you are now judging your spouse, so that your spouse is different from the other people you have been having sex with. So just take your time. And to my ladies, what I would like to say is that sometimes sex can be painful. I no go lie you, especially first experience. I can remember our first experience. I asked you, Uncle, is that the right spot? Are you sure you're putting it in the right hole? He said yes, that is the right place. After like 2 tries, I went to go and message my friend. I said, please, is this how we used to be? She said, that's how we used to be. So I'm telling you now, first experience, what painful.
But it can't be for everybody.
Okay.
I remember I watched a survey. I think they surveyed about 100 women before we started. So in that video, different women had different experiences. For some it wasn't painful, for some it was extremely painful. But different women have different
different people have it, but put your mind that it might be painful.
It might not.
Yeah, it might be painful, but it's not something that you cannot bear. It's like something that you can still hold tight to your chest and just let it get. And don't be in a hurry, like do let the pain go and let us start enjoying it. Like take your time, like enjoy the process, enjoy the flow. And also I would like to advise that buy lubricant. So buy I think we bought KY jelly. You can use coconut oil, you can use olive oil, you can use almond oil, but don't use epopupasha. I don't know that one. Don't use palm oil. I don't know that one. Oh, it's granite oil. I don't know that one. But just use healthy oils, sure. You can research about it. But I think I use KY jelly, and I think KY jelly has been very good. So you can use KY jelly, and just so that even after the first experience, even during sex, like in your marriage, sex can be painful, most especially if you are not well lubricated. So try to get your mind, when your mind is there, it helps with the lubrication. Also, you can use lubricants and you will just be fine. So please, thank you if you waited to the end of this video. Please help us to share, help us to like this video. Please share, especially if you know anybody that is about to get married or like is in the early phase of their marriage. Please share with them, because sex is a very interesting part of marriage that nobody wants to talk about, but it causes like a lot of issues. Yeah, so please talk about it, like share with them, let them know that everybody, like, is normal. And I think we also reached out to people individually, and they told us that this thing we are experiencing, like, is normal. So
something they also went through.
Yeah, so just know that it's normal. You get an hang of it and you guys will be fine. So please share the videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, comment, drop a comment about like the things you experience sexually, and about like things you experience during sex. Like, just shall leave a comment, Sha.
Yeah, let's hear from your experience also and learn from your experience. So
thank you so much, guys.
bye.
Yeah.